but they Drinker put out something recently regarding the DCU that apparently, you know how everybody was all excited about James Gunn taking over the DCU. And yeah, things have not really gone very well, has it, since he took over. And so the Drinker put out a video on that. And when it comes to Hollywood, I respect the Drinker's opinions very highly. He has a knowledgeable and very measured take in regards to Hollywood. So I'm kind of curious what he has to say. So let's do it.
The thing about first impressions is that you only ever get to make one, and never is that more true than the world of big budget filmmaking. It seems like only yesterday that James Gunn was being hailed as the saviour of DC on film, taking over a struggling franchise that had failed to launch as a dark and edgy Marvel alternative under Zack Snyder, failed to reorganize itself under a trio of girl bosses when that fad came and went like a fart in the wind, and even failed as The Rock's own personal vanity project, pretty much signaling the end of his decade of box office domination.
Okay, can I just point out, it's not even The Rock's personal project. Dwayne Johnson wanted to be in charge of the DCU. That the Dwayne Johnson's what the fuck God, what's he called? His Black Adam movie was Dwayne Johnson's attempt to actually take over the DCU. He wanted to be in charge of the DCU. He wanted Black Adam to basically be the focal point of the DCU's reboot. And it crashed and burned. Yeah, well, Garrett, I think he wanted to be more than the RDJ of the DCU. He wanted to be the RDJ, and he wanted creative control over the DCU. So he wanted to be both the RDJ and the James Gunn of the DCU. And that, of course, fell the fuck apart. So, yeah. Nick Victory, as to my understanding of when I've heard things about The Rock's Black Adam, is that was his intention. Is he was going to become the focal point of the DCU. Oh, excuse me. And as I understood it, he wanted creative control with the DCU as well. Hi, Jack.
But a savior had arrived in the form of James Gunn, the visionary director of Guardians of the Galaxy and, other stuff. Yeah. Sure, he might have dismissed arguably the most popular actor to play Superman since Christopher Reeve literally weeks after he announced he was returning to the role. Sure, he cancelled every...
And that was the kick in the teeth for a lot of people. When James Gunn got announced as being put in charge of the DCU, that happened at the same time Black Adam came out. And for those of you that know, at the end of Black Adam, you had a cameo with Superman. You had Henry Cavill cameoing as Superman at the end of Black Adam, where Black Adam, in a post-credit scene, Henry Cavill comes in as Superman, and he's like, we need to talk. And it set up okay, there's some shit that may be going on between Black Adam and Superman with Henry Cavill wearing the cape, when Henry Cavill was universally hailed as one of the greatest depictions of Superman in cinematic history. I would even go so far as to say that Henry Cavill was a superior Superman than Christopher Reeve. I will even go so far, this is a man that you can tell this was the role he was born to play. You know how Ryan Reynolds was born to be Deadpool? That is pretty much universally agreed upon. Ryan Reynolds was born to play Deadpool. Henry Cavill was born to play Superman. That was his role. And at the end of Black Adam, that was when James Gunn came onto the scene and was taking over DCU. And then they brought him on for that post-credit scene and then fired his ass. And it's like, well, so yeah, I mean, that alone put a big dent in the possible rise of the DCU.
The upcoming project except anything that starred his wife and made sure to give
Wait, hang on.
Manson's Christopher Reeve literally weeks after he announced he was returning to the role. Sure, he cancelled every upcoming project except anything that starred his wife and made sure to give his brother a major role that he totally didn't deserve. And sure, he was arguably a one-trick pony who tried to make every movie into Guardians of the Galaxy, but just don't think about it too much. Just keep telling yourself that James Gunn's amazing and everything's gonna somehow work out fine.
By the way, a possible unpopular opinion. I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy was anything special. I thought my opinion, Guardians of the Galaxy was okay. It was fine, I guess. I was never big. I never thought the Guardians of the Galaxy movies were anything big because they were fucking formulaic. Like, at minimum, 2 out of the 3 Guardians of the Galaxies had the exact same fucking plot. You had the misfits that all get thrown together, they all hate each other, but in the end, they all come together and they defeat the bad guy. The same fucking, that was the plot for Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and it was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It did the same fucking thing. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 3 kinda did the same fucking thing. Again, they were separated, they were kind of at odds with one another, and in the end, they came together and they beat the bad guy together. It was like literally the same damn thing for everyone. And while I don't think that they were bad movies, I don't consider them bad movies, they weren't like as phenomenal as people like to put out. Yeah, the third Guardians of the Galaxy had more heart because you were seeing Rocket's backstory, and that was definitely pulling heartstrings. Rocket's backstory absolutely pulled heartstrings. I don't dispute that in any way, shape, or form. But overall, I don't think that the Guardians of the Galaxies were these phenomenal pieces of cinema that people made it out to be. They were just fine. That's it. They were fine. And even in regards to being fun, Dwayne, they were okay in terms of fun. It's like every Guardians that I watched, I didn't come away from it going, wow, that was a really fun movie. That was fine. That was Guardians of the Galaxy. There was some fun in there. It was fine. Yeah, at Revan, I think you're right. I think the music carried a significant part of the weight of the movie on its shoulders because it was that good, 80s and maybe some 90s, like rock music or ballads or power ballads that people love. Like, yeah, the music did a great deal of heavy lifting with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I 100%, I agree with that. Yeah, and Antibacter, yes, no dispute. Deadpool and Wolverine was the best 2025 hero movie. I will even go so far as to say that Deadpool and Wolverine was probably the best superhero movie since the Avengers Endgame. And even then, I think Deadpool and Wolverine was superior to Avengers Endgame. I thought Avengers Endgame was fine. I didn't consider Avengers Endgame the masterpiece that it's been hailed as. I don't. Avengers Endgame was fine. The best part of it was the grand fight at the end of the movie. All the rest of it was just It was fine. Nothing special. It was not this masterpiece that everybody made it out to be. Deadpool and Wolverine was a fantastic movie because it didn't take itself seriously. Because Deadpool and Wolverine was made for fans. It was a movie for fans by fans. Oh yeah, Atashi, they didn't just nerf Hulk. They did Hulk dirty as fuck in Endgame. They did Hulk so fucking dirty in Endgame. I hated it. That was one thing that pissed me the fuck off, is how badly they did the Hulk in Endgame. I fucking hated that. That's one reason why I don't think Endgame is the masterpiece everybody that makes it out to be.
Telling yourself that James Gunn's amazing and everything's gonna somehow work out fine.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
But it turns out that everything didn't work out fine. The James Gunn honeymoon period is well and truly over now. The enthusiasm has died.
Thank you, TRV. Thank you for the 5 gifteds. Resin, the first one and the second one. If you mean the second Suicide Squad, that one was, again, okay. The first Suicide Squad with Will Smith, that was ass. Absolutely. First Suicide Squad with Will Smith was absolute ass. The second Suicide Squad movie was okay. I will give it an okay. But that's it.
Down, and after one underwhelming movie and 2 disappointing TV shows, the whole world seems to be coming to the same realization. This whole James Gunn thing probably wasn't a good idea, was it? An article in Forbes a couple of days ago painted a grim picture of Superman's box office performance. With a total haul of 615 million worldwide, the movie cleared just over 300 million after all the distributor fees were paid.
Hang on. Okay, box office 354, combined films international is 261, total gross of 615, production budget of 225, budgeting market of 125. So the movie made less, the movie profited less than 300 million. For a big budget blockbuster like this for Superman, I don't think it didn't have a loss. I don't think it had a loss. If we're looking at the North American numbers only, if you're looking at the North American numbers only, yes, you're looking at, from the looks of it, break even. From these numbers, North American box office of 354 million, budget and marketing combined came out to be 350. So it's. Let's see, international. So yeah, I mean, you've got worldwide box office gross, but yeah, there is the factor I'm forgetting about. I'm forgetting about the theaters taking a cut. I'm forgetting that, and the U.S. Yeah, so basically, so the box office was 354 million, which means the production probably only made half of that off it. So it made 100. So it made like 150, 175 million off the U.S. box office. Internationally, the box office cut's even steeper, so they'd be lucky if they made 100 million off that. So yeah, okay. That's the one thing I constantly forget about. I forget about the box office itself taking its cut before it gets back to the studio. That's the one thing I forgot. Yeah, so that took a loss. You're right. You guys are right. That did take a loss.
Worldwide, the movie cleared just over 300 million after all the distributor fees were paid, nowhere near the 350 million needed to cover production and marketing costs.
Yeah.
This, dear viewer, is what we call a flop.
No shit!
And keep in mind, Forbes is a pretty well-established industry publication with a long history of painting the most optimistic picture possible for big studio movies. If even they're admitting that Superman was a failure, you know it must be fucking bad. And this isn't just any old failure either. This isn't some obscure character from a limited run comic that we're talking about here. It's Superman, arguably the single most iconic superhero of all time. If you
Wait, let me keep going, but there's something I'm going to point out.
can't even make him work on screen, then what chance have you got with anyone else? Things aren't much better on the TV side of things either. Creature Commandos, which was actually Gunn's first entry in the DCU, was pretty much ignored and mostly irrelevant because really, who the fuck cares about an animated TV show about a bunch of characters nobody's ever heard of that's only loosely connected to the new shared universe? Peacemaker Season 2 was Gunn's big passion project, probably because it stars his own wife who just mysteriously keeps getting cast in James Gunn projects. Oh my goodness, it must be a complete coincidence. Gunn himself hyped the show up relentlessly, constantly banging on about how important it was to DC's future and all the stuff that it was going to set up.
Liar!
Because truly, if there's one guy you can always rely on to tell it like it is, and never resort to hyperbole and cheap sales tactics to drum up interest in his work, it's James Gunn.
Wrong.
None of it made any difference though. The show failed to even break into the Nielsen top 10, there was practically no conversation about it online, and Gunn's decision to jam a bunch of modern day political lectures into the narrative with all the subtlety of a tactical nuclear
No fucking way. Did he seriously do this? Like, obviously I never watched Peacemaker. I had no interest in Peacemaker. I don't fucking care about him as character. Did he seriously try and shove this bullshit modern day political ideology crap into it? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my fucking god. They went to Earth X. Fuck me. And remember when people were trying to hail James Gunn as going to be the savior of DC, that he wouldn't be bringing in all of this woke political ideology, DEI bullshit? Remember that? And he made Peacemaker by. I need a facepalm emote. Oh god, I need a facepalm. I need a facepalm emote. Jesus fuck! Yeah, this is why I've said indie studios in both Hollywood and gaming, this is their time. This is the time for indie studios to rise in the gaming industry and the film and TV industry. Independent studios, this is your time. Your time is now to show how much better you are than mainstream Hollywood and game development studios. Game development studios have already proven it. The indie studios are kicking ass in the gaming space. Independent film studios? The iron is hot, so start fucking striking.
Strike at a time when most people are getting pretty fucking tired of that crap, only serve to divide an already small fan base. The result? Well, after a strong premiere, interest in the show flatlined and never recovered, and a potential third season was axed before season 2 had even finished airing. There's just no hiding it anymore. James Gunn's DCU is in deep trouble. It's barely even started and already people seem to have lost interest in it. And it's not like the best is yet to come either. Next year's gonna give us 2 more movies, Supergirl and Clayface.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Fuck.
Yeah, no offense guys, but if even Superman couldn't drum up audience interest, what chance do you think this drunken arsehole's gonna have? And I think maybe it's time to face reality with this one. Whatever it was gonna take to get DC back on track after years of mismanagement, James Gunn wasn't it. I know the loyalty some people feel towards that dude borders on religious fanaticism, but even the most die-hard James Gunn fan should be able to recognize the mistakes he's made. His first big mistake was failing to make a clean break from the old DCEU. DC on film was a complete mess by the time he took over. Not only did it have a whole bunch of conflicting creative visions for the DC shared universe, with elements of the old Snyderverse still lingering on, aborted characters and discarded plot threads lying around everywhere, questions about whether Henry Cavill would return as Superman, no fewer than 3 different versions of Batman active at the same time, a Joker spin-off that was disconnected from everything else, a Batman
and failed abysmally, mind you. That's another thing that's the thing of Drinker Ditch didn't talk about. The first Joker was disconnected from the DC. It was like an alternate DC universe. And the first movie was held in very high regard because it was a very intense character piece. I have not seen it, but I've heard like how it was a very like well-regarded character piece about the Joker. But yeah, it's a standalone thing. And then they did the Joker 2, Folie de what was it? Whatever the fuck with Joker 2. I can't remember the subtitle for it. It was Folie de Deux or something. And they completely fucked it up. Because Folie de Deux, yeah. And they fucked it up because the director didn't want to come back for Joker 2. The director made the first Joker movie as a one and done, and then Warner Brothers said, "Hey, money! let's do more. And they forced the director to come back for the second movie, and he didn't want to make it. And so the second movie absolutely fucking bombed and blew. And it actually made people dislike the first movie. Like, that's talent. To make a movie so fucking bad, a sequel so bad that people actually said, now I hate the first one too. That's a special kind of talent.
And Solo movie with a sequel still in the works, Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker spin-off that were personal projects of Gunn's, and even a Snyder cut of Justice League. What he really should have done was kill everything, let the franchise rest for a couple of years, and then do a hard reset, starting over with a completely blank slate. Instead, he went for a confusing and convoluted halfway house solution, axing most of the old DCEU, but still carrying Suicide Squad and Peacemaker over into the new continuity.
Which we knew why. Because Suicide Squad and Peacemaker were his. Because when he came out with Suicide Squad, when he came out with the second Suicide Squad movie that had Cena as Peacemaker, it was generally received well. And it was his baby. Out of everything in the DCU at the time, Suicide Squad was his. And so when they put him in charge, of fucking course, he brought the Suicide Squad, his film, and brought that over into the reboot of the DCU. Because it was his. Not Henry Cavill, who everyone fucking loved as Superman. Nah, he brought his stuff only, and that's it. Because, of course, he wanted his shit to come with.
Isn't it funny how people in projects that are personally connected to James Gunn always seem to make the cuts?
When asked if he would do the comic color Batman suit, Gunn said the suit didn't matter and he didn't care.
Huh? Why does that not surprise me?
Also kept the Matt Reeves Batman and the Todd Phillips Joker movies in their own separate continuities, with plans to introduce his own version of Batman and Joker into the DCU.
Son of a bitch!
Excellent stuff, James. That's not going to be confusing for general audiences at all. The point is that instead of the hard reset that was desperately needed, all we really got was just another rushed, poorly thought out course change from a studio that was too timid to make hard decisions, too impatient to wait, and too stupid to know what to do with its own IPs. No wonder audiences weren't buying into it. There's no reason to believe this version's even going to be around in a few years, so what's the point in getting invested in it? His second big mistake was inserting his own creative sensibilities into every project. James Gunn definitely has talents as a writer and director, but the problem is those talents are focused in a very narrow range, and instead
once again, when it comes to his talents as a writer and a director. So, like, you know, Guardians was shot very well. The writing, again, it was eh. It was just okay. I don't know if I would laud him as being a great talent in that respect. Legitimately, it's fine, but I wouldn't put him on a pedestal or anything.
Instead of hiring other people who might be better suited to a project, he instead tries to make everything work his way. Watch any James Gunn movie or TV show and you've pretty much seen them all because they all...
And here, this was the one character out of Guardians of the Galaxy that I liked. Out of, oh, what the... Scout, will you stop it? What are you getting into? Oh, shit, hang on a second. Hang on, Jack, you know it's like... Yeah, Scout was doing orange cat thing. She freaking knocked over my subwoofer. She was like, what, weaving around in between my feet and then like knocked over my subwoofer. Jeez, yes, I gave her pets. I gave her pets and I just gave her treats, which I'm not sure is a good thing because it might be encouraging her to knock more stuff over. But I gave her pets and I gave her treat. Yeah, but Michael Rooker as Yondu was the one character in Guardians of the Galaxy, particularly Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I liked. Especially in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I thought he was great. As Yano. I was so disappointed when they killed him off. Like, he would have been fucking phenomenal to stick around with Guardians. He was the one character that I really fucking loved. And Michael Rooker was fan-fucking-tastic. Yes, he did go out like a boss. He absolutely did go out like a boss. But I wish they kept him around. I really wish they kept him around.
Adhere to the same basic formula. A bunch of flawed but likable misfits are forced to team up and have to work together to take down some big overarching threat, eventually becoming a kind of dysfunctional family along the way. Usually accompanied by a lot of snarky, self-deprecating humor, incongruous pop music that underscores big action set pieces, and a troubled protagonist with a dark past. It's fine for what it is, I guess, but once you've seen it 5 or 6 times, well, it starts to get old real fast, and it really underscores.
What was I saying earlier? It's the same fucking thing over and over. The same thing. That all of his movies had, how Drinker just said it is exactly how I said it earlier. It was the same fucking thing over and over again.
Course, how the guy's writing sensibilities peaked like 10 years ago and haven't moved on since. More importantly, it's not a formula you can apply to every situation, and Superman was a perfect example of that. You could see how hard he was trying to bend the character into the classic James Gunn mold, but it just wasn't working.
Okay, hey now, I have to address this because Lonely Healer, you're right. That was one of the complaints I always had too. Drax served no purpose in the movies. Oh, Trace! Oh! Okay, Trace. Thank you. Thank you, Trace. Yeah, it's... The Drax, literally, served no purpose in the movies, other than to be a punchline. Nothing about Drax in any of the Guardians of the Galaxy films was anything. He was just there to say funny things. He was not a skilled combatant. Everyone else was kicking ass except him. In all 3 fucking movies, he was just there to be made fun of. That's it. They never showcased his skill as a combatant. Yeah, he's supposed to be this, incredible fighter, a par excellence. No, Tristan, it's not even about Dave Bautista being an actor. Drax is supposed to be an absolute badass fighter. He is, on a pedestal of one of the great fighters, and they didn't show that in any way, shape, or form. He did nothing but get his ass kicked in the films. Over and over and over again. All he did was get his ass kicked. He was there as a punchline. He was basically the Hulk from Endgame. And it was so fucking stupid. It would have been better to have him not in the films at all. And yeah, that was a big problem that I had with all the Guardians movies. Is they have characters there that they talk up and say, "Oh, he's a great fighter. He's one of the best fighters in the galaxy." And he does nothing but get his ass kicked. So yeah.
Because Superman was fundamentally incompatible with his style of writing, and no amount of shitty, misplaced humour was going to change that. The result is that DCU was starting to feel more like James Gunn's own personal vanity project, made by and for one person only. James Gunn. He keeps the projects alive that he personally cares about, consistently hires friends and family who matter to him, and runs projects that he's totally not suited to in the way he personally enjoys. Here's the thing though, James, when you're the head of a multi-billion-dollar film franchise, it's not really about what you want anymore, it's about the audience and what they want, and it seems like the gap between those two things is getting wider with each new release. Say what you want about Kevin Feige, but the guy's at least smart enough to know his own limitations as a creative and let other people take up the slack.
I don't know about that.
Now there's even rumours that if Warner gets bought over by Paramount, in a deal that's looking increasingly possible, Gunn and his entire DCU will be the first out the door. And honestly,
Philip is looking to buy Warner Brothers? Oh, shit. I didn't know about this. Hell. If Paramount buys Warner Brothers? Shit. Then there's only gonna basically be like 2 or 3 studios left. You're gonna have a massive conglomerate of like 2 or 3 studios if that happens. Shit.
Honestly, I wouldn't blame them one bit, because not only has Gunn fumbled what should have been a slam dunk, but there's nothing in the immediate future that can turn it around for him. I mean, what's the alternative here? Keep throwing good money after bad? Keep allowing James Gunn to churn out James Gunn projects made purely for James Gunn? Like I said before, you only get one chance to make a first impression, and something tells me this could be James Gunn's last. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Funniest part when it comes to Superman, you know what most people remember from Superman the most, I think? The thing that I've seen people remember most about Superman is Gary. Alan Tudyk as Gary. Out of all the clips Alan Tudyk as Gary and Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Those are the 2 people that I think most audience, like both clips that I've seen online are either about Gary and Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Just those 2. That's it. Those are the two characters in the Superman movie that people liked. Yeah, it's honestly, I think all these superhero movies need to be shelved for at least 10 years. It's clear by now that people are tired of superhero movies. They're tired of them. They need to get put on they need to just put them away and let them sit for 10 or 15 years and then come back with people that actually know what they're doing. Because people are done. People are done with it. Silver, Gary was one of the robots that Superman had in James Gunn's Superman movie. He was one of the robots. He didn't actually have a name. He had like the number 4. And at the end of the movie, when he's taking care of Superman at the end of the movie, he's like, I'd like to have a name. And Superman goes, you have a name. You're 4. 4 is a name. And Robot goes, so's Gary. And it's the robot is voiced by Alan Tudyk, the great Alan Tudyk. And that's what people remember. They remember Alan Tudyk and they remember Nathan Fillion. Yeah, superhero movies just need to get shelved for like 15 years or so. People need to forget about superhero movies for a little while and then bring them back when people are like, you know what? I miss superhero movies.